you have to follow what's happening, try and be on the crest of a wave of what's happening, or try and find a niche. And my niche was high-end homes. And so, my apartments were, I call them, I built a Bosch oven, but sold it for, I don't know, like Hoover prices, right. Whereas others were building, the other way around, essentially. Yeah. But I then started doing things like barn conversions and like high-end homes. And that's where our niche is, because we'd always done high-end builds for customers.
Hi, I'm Michael Allison, Commercial Director at Roma Finance, and welcome to another episode of RomaTalks, where I'm joined by people from across the property ecosystem. And today I'm delighted to be joined by two people, Steve Hammond and Traynor from TDN Birmingham. Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Well, I'm okay.
Good.
But people aren't bothered about how I am. They're normally bothered about how you guys are. So why don't we introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about yourself. Steve?
I'm Steve Hammond. I'm a builder, a developer, and a landlord based in Birmingham. I've been a builder since 2003 and a developer since 2017. I've got my own portfolio, and that's it really. And obviously co-host of the Developers Network Birmingham with Shane.
And Shane, a bit about
Absolutely,
yourself.
yeah. So my business is the Property Developer Buying Club, which is a membership platform that enables our members to get access to national house builder pricing on materials and services that they already use. And they also have a CGI company as well, which helps developers turn their 2D plans into nice 3D renderings to help with marketing and planning applications.
Brilliant. Okay, so I mentioned the ecosystem before, but you've got your own ecosystem going amongst yourselves.
Indeed.
Tell me, before we go any further, TDN Birmingham, or the Developers Network Birmingham, how long has that been going for now?
Going about 4 years, is it?
It'll be 5 years in October this year.
Yeah.
So we'll be celebrating that, which we can't wait for.
I think we were the second one to start, and we're now one of two left.
And how many members do you have? How many people attend on a monthly basis?
We have 600 in the group, don't we?
Wow.
So in the WhatsApp group, we've got just under 650 as of today, but we get an average of about 70 to 90 per month attendees. We get the odd month, which reaches about 100 to 105, but that's when we've got probably someone who's prolific in the scene that people want to go and see.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, really. The people talk about numbers at events, and some of our best ones have been some of our lower numbers because, I don't know, gives more time for people to chat to, people and stuff like that. And so actually some of our best ones have been some of the smaller ones in a way as well.
So what made you decide to set it up? What was the plan?
We'll keep the short version of that, essentially. But I joined Whitebox, which was a property developer training. So I did my first development, which was 14 apartments, and I hit every problem, and it was a massive learning curve. And probably, 14 apartments on an ex-petrol station is a big undertaking in anyone's book. And I thought to myself, I need to get some property education. So I started watching Whitebox. They did like a monthly sort of thing, didn't they, or a weekly thing, and online. And I started watching that. And then I decided to join the training, which was a 2-day course. I thought, I've got nothing to lose from that. In the room, I thought to myself, there's a network of people. That's awesome. So I'll join the training thing. And they just kept working on me to try and set up a developers network in Birmingham. You can give your sort of background, and then we can talk about how we met.
Yeah, and I wanted to get into developments, and throughout lockdown they did the things, Whitebox Wednesdays, which was their online networking event they did once a week. And as it was coming out of lockdown, they said, we want to start some in-person networking events, and we want to start opening up in key cities, Birmingham being one of them. So I put myself forward as a host because I thought, great, this is an opportunity to stand in front of a room full of developers and I can go and meet them and get mentored by them and that sort of thing. But they said you can do it on the provision that you find someone who's done developments before, because I hadn't done a development before. So they ended up finding Steve, and then we had a conversation, and then I met Steve at one of his projects, and we had a good chat for a few hours, and then we decided to launch it a few months later.
He calls it a chat, or you normally call it an interrogation.
Yes, interrogation.
But I basically said to him, leave your job and come and work with me, and we'll build the developers network and, be a part of the business, and we'll figure out, which part of development your future lies, essentially.
And did you do it?
Yeah, so I was actually employed by Steve, worked with him as his business development manager, because I was working at a school as an IT technician before that, with what wanted to get into developments. Yeah. And I thought this is the best way to learn. So I approached, when Steve approached me after Whitebox connected us both, we met, and Steve was like, tell you what, quit your job, come work for me. I'll teach you everything I know about development, and we'll launch the event together. So that was in like the May time. So 40 hours later, I handed in my notice, and he took the leap. Didn't even know the bloke.
Never looked back.
Never looked back. And it's been the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, fantastic! And for you, obviously, you were in Builder 2003. Yeah. So, what made you want to take that step from Builder into developer? Because it is a common one that we see with a lot of Roma borrowers. What made you want to take that step yourself?
A little bit more background before that. I wanted to set up a business. I just didn't know what. And back in 2003, I decided to set up a children's nursery for my wife to run. Yeah. And in doing that, I bought 2 houses. My background wasn't building. I bought 2 houses and built 100 square metres around them. And once we'd done that, and it was a massive undertaking when you've never done any building work, I knew nothing about children's nurseries. I worked in one for 2 weeks just to learn it. But I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and then lots of people had said, what a lovely job you've done here. Would you do one for me? And I thought, I need to know more than them. So I became a builder, and we sold the nursery, which became a children's centre and a much bigger business in the end. But we sold that in 2010, and I thought, I had a choice. Do I go down the children's centre route, or do I go down the building route? And I thought, I'm going to go down the building route and become a developer. But I always had 2 years worth of work ahead. And 2010, I thought I'd be a developer. And then I never thought about it again until 2017. And I've looked up and gone, I haven't done any development. And I want to do something else more than just being a builder. And so this was on holiday. I didn't want to make all the lads redundant. So I thought to myself, I'll become a developer. I got back, took a week off, found some land and offered on the land, did a deal, bought the land, and then effectively built 14 apartments. And then that became the start of my development career, if you like.
Amazing. And was that in Birmingham?
That was in Birmingham as well, yeah.
And is everything that you guys do in the Birmingham?
Everything that I do is because my team's based in Birmingham, so I tend to try to stay within 45 minutes because if they have to travel longer, they want to get paid more and they want to go home earlier. So it costs
you more. And how do you see the market around Birmingham? Is it different in different areas, or is there great opportunities?
You have to follow what's happening, try and be on the crest of a wave of what's happening, or try and find a niche. And my niche was high-end homes. And so, my apartments were, I call them, probably, I built a Bosch oven, but sold it for, I don't know, like Hoover prices, right. Whereas others were building, the other way around, essentially. But I then started doing things like barn conversions and like high-end homes. And that's where our niche is, because we'd always done high-end builds for customers. I'm good at that part. I enjoy that part. But the problem is there's no market for that at the moment, because lots of millionaires left. They might be coming back because of the Iran crisis. Yeah. But lots of builders left. Lots of wealthy people left. So the high-end market sort of dried up a little bit. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And, I'm following trying to de-risk developments. So at the moment, I'm looking at more build to lease and build to rent as opposed to build to sell. Yeah. Because I know so many people who have bought sites probably 2 or 3 years ago and struggling to sell them now. I don't want to get myself into that place where I'm struggling, because I had a hard year for a similar reason, trying to sell, 2 high-end houses. When you've got a couple of million quid tied up, it's a scary place when the debt's building up.
Well, if the interest is going up and the price is coming off, there's only one thing getting squeezed, and that's your ability to go. The ability to go again. Are you seeing much change on the cost of materials or anything? Has there been much change in that so far this year?
100%. There's material prices that increase year on year anyway, obviously with inflation, but more in particular with what's going on recently in the Middle East. we've had emails from all of our supplier partners saying this is the increases we're getting, like from their suppliers and their manufacturers. So we're seeing them as well. But the good thing with our business, we're like, for instance, Travis Perkins is our merchant supplier partner. They've ring fenced actually a lot of their materials because they can buy and store in bulk. So actually, we did the property developer show in Bristol the other week. We exhibited there, and Travis Perkins was on the stand with us. And it was that morning they got the emails, and I said, "Well, how are you dealing with that then with the supply?" And they said, "Well, actually, we've ring fenced our materials, like some of the main ones, like for instance, plasterboard's obviously a big one, and they're keeping that mainly for trade. So your general public, if they end up running out, let's say, for instance, or they get close to that level, they'll be giving it, prioritising to the trade first that are building rather than the general public.
It's more creation than replacement.
Yeah, exactly. But it's definitely risen in the past 2 weeks, for sure.
So it's interesting, obviously, with both of you comes a lot of experience of either hands-on doing it, bringing people into a room to talk about it, close to the cost of being able to do a scheme. What are the opportunities for developers at this moment in time? Do you see any opportunities for developers within a space? I know we talked about build to rent, but you still need to make that stack, I guess, for the end piece.
As with anything, in difficult times, there are opportunities.
Yeah.
And so the opportunities are finding motivated sellers who need to sell what they've got.
Yeah.
So there's definitely opportunity. I'm not saying there's not opportunity. It's finding those opportunities, or it's finding those niches, or riding the crest of a wave. Like crest of a wave at the moment, supported living, everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. How long will that last when everybody starts finding out about it? As they are, is that too late?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so at the moment, because there's such a shortage of social and supported houses that there's a great big opportunity there at the moment, and some of the big providers do want cluster properties, whether it be a block of apartments or whether it be bungalows or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, crest of a wave and a niche. But there are so many deals to be had out there. I've just bought one that literally in 8 hours work, well, actually, no, I bought an apartment back. This isn't going out for a few days, is it? So I can tell you.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
So I bought an apartment back that I built, and effectively, with 8 hours work, created 50 grand profit, because he needed out. And I was at the right place, right time, right conversation, maybe played a slightly better negotiating game, and,
Stronger hand.
Essentially, yeah. So, there's people suffering. When the people suffer, people can gain. But you don't have to kill someone for it. But
No, I think it is all about, we're a big believer, volatility can create opportunity. It's about hunting for those opportunities. And we are seeing ourselves as lender a lot of exiting landlords who maybe it's a retiring landlord, doesn't want to pass it on to the kids, poor legacy planning, not bothered about most of the upside that's in the property, so they'll sell it for 70% of what it's worth, or certainly on the portfolio side of things. And as the exit, somebody can buy it, like you say, a little bit of asset management, bring it back to life, but the true value's up here, so they're buying immediate equity.
I was looking at a deal on Friday, and he's willing to put he's probably what you'd term the baby boomer, selling stuff off. Doesn't necessarily need maximum value for it, wants minimal hassle. He's willing to put, a quarter of the money in himself to enable me to buy it.
Yeah.
And so, in essence, I wouldn't have to put very much money in, and, then borrow 65, 75%. And you end up with a cash flowing asset that, as you say, I would asset manage to a supported living provider instead of doing it on a HMO sort of level.
You've got the hands off, you've got the 5 years. Yeah. So regardless of whatever we talk about, there's still a chronic need for housing in the UK. And that's either the creation of new homes or it's the reconfiguring of the homes we've got to be better quality homes for people to have. And that may be converting some of the commercial space into semi-commercial, whatever it may be. So what kind of, when you're talking to the people within TDN and the 600 people in the WhatsApp group, what's your general sentiment at this moment in time for people? Are they following your example and what we're seeing with property professionals? This is the time to go, or There's a lot more caution.
Interestingly, we always have speakers on, and if we seem to be the ones that try and put people off development just because of how hard it actually is to develop. I mean, we have a guy that attend, I'm sure he won't mind us saying, Dan Nash. He's been with us since the very beginning, and he's always said he owns a commercial glazing business, and he's done all his property development as a hobby, if you like. We say it's a hobby of his, but he'll come up and stand up every month and introduce himself to the room, and he'll talk about the challenges he's had this month, and he'll always go, "Don't get into developments." And he's like, "It's too painful." And then he turns around at the start of this year and he goes, "I've just found another development and I couldn't pass it up." So it's almost like he's got the bug for it. But I think
he likes pain.
He does. Yeah, I think like developers, they just get used to it. Like, well, it can't be as bad as the last deal.
You forget how hard the last project was, or when you're saying, "I'm never doing this again," and then 3 months after that, you're going, "Oh, what's that deal there?"
I mean, there's lots of challenges, as you know, in development, and this is why we started TDN, is actually to help people not only navigate, but also for people to support and lean on the community. So when people have got a challenge, we encourage people to message in the group, or even Steve or I privately, "What's your challenge? Let's see if we can help," because it might feel like a lonely place, but it really isn't. It doesn't have to be a lonely place. I mean, for instance, with you, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying, when you needed to get off a bridge for your development, you said, "Right, I'm going to put something out into the community," and an investor appeared because he put himself out there.
Well, what I did, we had a finding finance special at TDN, and I presented my opportunity as an example of how you do this, and I got 7 people interested in, taking me off the bridge, essentially, so it did a double. It educated people, but also gave me what I was looking for. And I was just thinking while Shane was talking then, because you mentioned Dan Nash and the lonely journey and giving support. Dan phoned us early on in one of his first development and said, "Would we have a look at this development?" And it was a development of I think it was 9 or 14 apartments. I can't remember what it was exactly now. And we're looking at it, and then Shane said, "Oh, I think I've looked at this." Shane had actually gone for it as well, because Shane was obviously
I couldn't get it to work personally, but I mean,
and I was like, "You've missed that."
But then we found out that he knew someone at the estate agent that was selling it. So, but still.
But it all comes back to network, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
And what it did for Dan was give him confidence to go and do it. And what it did for us was improve our relationship. He then brings that along to TDN and says, "The guys helped me do this," and it gave him confidence. And he comes to the event. He uses the solicitor, the
set up his SAS,
insurance, all the bits and bobs, because people come recommended, and it's a self legislating environment, because if a few people give bad feedback, people sort of disappear from the group in the end, because they realise no one's going to use them.
People buy people, don't they?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think what you've got there is 5 years, half a decade of provability that there is a network that works, and 600 people have remained active in the WhatsApp group, and people come to the events, and you're well known for it. You've even brought me some merchandise,
absolutely,
which will be here all the time now.
Pleasure.
And there you can go. Get yours. I think we'll put the details as well of the TDN underneath, because you don't actually have to live in Birmingham to attend it.
No, it's welcome to anybody.
But it's a good place to go to meet people, to be able to get that more information.
It surprises me how far some people come.
Poland, I think we have
had someone come from Poland.
Well, if you're watching in Poland, then now you know, Dzień dobry, now you know where to go.
Yeah, come over.
Developers Network Poland.
So what's next for you guys then?
I think we want to continue to keep the community strong, bring in new guests, people that haven't had the opportunity to speak before, be on the circuit, but are really doing things and in development that they've been burnt in the past, they've learned, and then they can pass them learning on to the attendees. So continue, the quality is quite important for us in speakers. That's what I would think we'd continue to do. And
I'd never anticipated we'd do it as long as we have.
Same.
I think the benefits that it brings us personally is massive.
Yeah.
The effort required isn't massive. It does take time. it does take thought, it takes planning and stuff like that. But actually, I enjoy it. And I like the feeling of helping people, the feeling that gives me. I like the feeling of being a credible person in the room, and people, respect you for that. But most importantly, it's a business growth environment because, I always say I'm looking for 3 things when I'm there: skills, opportunities, and investment. And it's given me all 3 in abundance. But the one thing I never anticipated, friendships. I've got some really good friends that have come out of TDN and Shane.
And Shane.
Can't believe I've put him through all these years.
I think we might get you back in a few weeks to make sure you're still friends.
It'd be worth doing that, yeah.
Listen, I think we could go on all day, certainly talking.
Agreed.
We can talk off camera as well. But listen, thank you very much for coming in, and well done on a great 5 years. And I'm excited to see what's next with you guys. Thank you very much for coming to see us.
Pleasure.
And thanks very much for watching and listening at home. Thank you.